looking sharp. You've come so far.
Gillette Labs, a razor unlike any other, for exceptional comfort and closeness in one effortless stroke. Gillette Labs, the best a man can get.
If you're a business owner, then animated explainer videos are the best way to capture attention, get more followers, and drive more sales. They're engaging to watch, super shareable.
Let us proceed with the first song. Let us proceed with the first song.
Welcome to Complicated Relationship Matters with Dr. Mark Ben. We are here to educate you and coach you through any kind of relationship issues that you are dealing with. Our channel includes talk shows, documentaries, debates, and much, much more.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You are welcome to another moment with Complicated Relationship with Dr. Mark Ben. Today we'll be going into another exciting story, and I will want your input into the story. Okay, I want your input. And normally, for those who are joining for the first time, we'll tell you a story of an happening, what actually happened in people's life regarding their relationship that seems complicated. Then we'll now ask for your opinion on how things will be handled. So that's what we'll normally do. And if you are joining us for the first time, so I will actually want you to subscribe to our channel, then like our videos, and also press the notification bell in case we have a new video. You'll be the first person to be notified. Okay, you just grab a cup of coffee or a glass of water and a box of popcorn as we journey together in this exciting episode of Complicated Relationship Matters with Dr. Mark Ben. I'm your host today, Dr. Mark Ben, and I've got the story outlined for you. And before we go into that, I will also want us to we will go on a short break shortly. Then after that, we bring you the story.
This is Complicated Relationship Matters with Dr. Mark Ben, adding life and values to relationships.
Welcome back. Now, the title of today's story is simply my friend's wife pregnancy belongs to me. How come? How would that be? So this is the story that we got a few days ago, and I have it here. So I'm going to read out this story to you, and then you can make up what actually transpired, and you'll be answering the questions that will be posing to you today. Okay. Now, this is a story quickly. That's I'm reading right now. The Ojo and Adeniyi families have been close friends for over a decade. They have been known to others as close family friends as well. They visited each other and do things in common or together. At a point, Mr. Ojo got an American visa that he had been seeking for over the last few years. At a point, Mr. Ojo, At a point, Mr. Ojo got a visa, like American visa, that he had been seeking for over the last few years. So as part of the plans to travel to the United States of America, he agreed with his wife to move in with the Adeniyi family pending the time she would join him in the US. This matter was discussed and agreed to by both Ojo and Adeniyi families. Mrs. Ojo moved in with the Adeniyi to live under the same roof. Mrs. Ojo and Mrs. Adeniyi have been very close friends as well. While living with the Adeniyi family, an affair developed between Mr. Adeniyi and Mrs. Ojo that led her to being pregnant for Mr. Adeniyi. Mrs. Ojo have not been pregnant for once for her own husband, Mr. Ojo, who now reside in the United States of America. And Mrs. Ojo saw her pregnancy as being divinely orchestrated by the Almighty God. She declined to get an abortion as against the advice of Mr. Adeniyi. Mrs. Ojo and Mr. Adeniyi wanted the issue to be kept away from their spouses. That's what actually transpired. That's just a summary. Okay, that's a summary of what transpired. I'm going to read that again for those who are just joining us. This is the story again. The Ojo and Adeniyi families have been close friends for over a decade. They have been known to others as close family friends as well. They visited each other and do things together and also do things in common. At a point, Mr. Ojo got an American visa that he had been seeking for over the years. As part of the plans to move or to travel to the United States of America, he agreed with his wife to move in with the Adeniyi family pending the time she would join him in the US. This was so because just they had no kids, okay? It's just Mr. Ojo and Mrs. Adeniyi that live in that house. So I think that he felt maybe the wife would be like lonely, being alone in the house. That's why they had that plan for her to move to their family friend's house, okay? Now, just to throw more light onto that. So this matter was discussed and agreed to by both Ojo and Adeniyi families, which means the two families were involved. They agreed that this was fine by both families. So Mrs. Ojo moved in with the Adeniyi to live under the same roof. Mrs. Ojo and Mrs. Adeniyi have been very close friends. While living with the Adeniyi family, an affair developed between Mr. Adeniyi and Mrs. Ojo that led to Mrs. Ojo being pregnant for Mr. Adeniyi. Mrs. Ojo have never been pregnant for once for her own husband, who now reside in the United States of America. And Mrs. Ojo saw her pregnancy as being divinely orchestrated by the Almighty God. She declined to get an abortion as against the advice of Mr. Adeniyi. Mrs. Ojo and Mr. Adeniyi wanted the issue to be kept away from their spouses. So that is the state of the affairs as it stands right now. So we would like to hear from you what your opinion would be. But before then, I want to actually get our disclaimer notice back on the screen. Disclaimer notice: the views and opinion expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent. Moreover, the information contained therein does not constitute or substitute any professional counseling or advisory services that viewers might engage in. In addition, content provided herein does not claim nor represent any form of therapeutic alliance which viewers might associate with through the material provided in the videos. Should viewers feel the need or require such assistance, we recommend seeking relevant support services for further assistance or contact MB Relationship Coaching and Consultancy for relationship coaching session. Now we're back to the studio. So what's your opinion? So the three questions, I'll be asking you three questions. So, and I want your answers. And for those who'll be watching this broadcast also, you also know that you could also you could chat with us online right away. Okay, I can easily read it from here. Or you could drop your opinion as well. But we'll encourage people to call in today. For quite some time now, we've just been asking people to drop their comments for today. But if you can call in today, that'll be fine. We'll appreciate that. That'll be good. So the question right away would be, I have three questions for you, okay? Let me get out the questions. These are the questions. How do you think this matter should be resolved in your own opinion? Two, do you agree with Mrs. Ojo and Mr. Adeniyi to keep the matter close to their hearts? Okay, I'll get that credit. So those are the first two questions I want us to deal with today. So what is your opinion? So how do you think this issue should be resolved?
This is Complicated Relationship Matters with Dr. Mark Ben, adding life and values to relationships.
How do you think this issue should be resolved? So let me get the line open right now. Okay. Let's go to the questions again so that those who are just joining us well will actually benefit from that. So just going to test right now to repeat the questions again. I'll repeat the questions. How do you think this matter should be resolved in your own opinion? Do you agree with Mrs. Ojo and Mr. Adeni to keep the matter close to their hearts? That is to keep it a secret? Then the third question would be, if you were Mr. Ojo, when the matter comes to your hearing, how would you handle it? Remember, Mr. Ojo is in the United States of America while the wife is pregnant for his best friends. Okay. So, how do we handle this? So, the number you're going to call today, for those, you could call WhatsApp as well. The number you call today are simply, these are the numbers to call in. Yeah, if you are in the UK, you could call +44 203 +44 203 00 66 914. If you're in the Republic of Ireland, you could just call +353 899 666 22 and 1. Just in the US, call us on +1 718 807 4551. So the numbers are just on the screen. The numbers are on the screen. So these are the numbers you're going to call so that we can actually get your aim. So how you resolve that? You could start with you could you might not answer the question in just in the way I've arranged it. You could start with number two, you could start with number three, you could start with number one, but we just need to get talking on this issue. So how would you actually handle this case For instance, if you are Mr. Ojo and later you just heard that your wife has been pregnant for your best friend, oh my God, whom you actually believed in, you believe that she should be protected there, and you have so much confidence that because your wife and the wife of your best friend are close friends, that nothing will happen. And you even trusted your friend, but now your friend has impregnated your wife. So how would you handle that? Okay, so how would you actually how would we handle this issue? How would we resolve this issue? That's one of the things that we also need to talk about. Okay, these are the things that we need to talk about. So these are the things that we're looking into. So we're going to actually get this sorted out. Okay. Okay, let's get the call in. Hello, well, you are on on here right now. Okay. Did you hear the story, or do you want me to tell you the story again?
No, I'm here. I think that's
Okay. Okay. I'll take this. I'll quickly run through the story. Okay. 1 second. The Ojo and Adeni families have been close friends for over a decade. They have been known to others as close family friends as well. They visited each other and do things in common or together. At a point, Mr. Ojo got an American visa that he had been seeking for over the last few years. As part of the plan to travel to the United States of America, he agreed with his wife to move in with the Adeniyi family pending the time she would join him in the United States of America. This matter was discussed and agreed by to by both Ojo and Adeniyi families. Okay, Mrs. Ojo Mrs. Ojo moved in with the Adeniyi to live under the same roof as agreed by both families. Mrs. Ojo and Mrs. Adeniyi have been very close friends. So while living with the Adeniyi family, an affair developed between Mr. Adeniyi and Mrs. Ojo that led to Mrs. Ojo being pregnant for Mr. Adeniyi. Mrs. Ojo have never been pregnant for once for her husband, who now reside in the United States of America. And she saw her pregnancy as being divinely orchestrated by the Almighty God. She declined to get an abortion as against the advice of Mr. Adeniyi, who impregnated her, so as to keep it secret. Mrs. Ojo and Mr. Adeniyi wanted the issue to be kept away from their spouses. So the question now is simply based on this. How do you think this matter should be resolved in your own opinion? Okay. Number two, do you agree with Mrs. Ojo and Mr. Adeniyi to keep the matter close to their hearts? And the third question would be, if you were Mr. Ojo, when the matter comes to your hearing, how would you handle it? You get it now?
hello. I'm not saying none. Number one, the deed has been done. Abortion is not an option according to her heart and father of her baby. She's legally married to Mr. Adeniyi.
She's still legally married to Mr. Ojo, who is now in the US. Yeah.
So then secondly, there's no point to keeping it as a secret, number one. And they say that for the sake of the innocent that is coming, you know, we cannot put that child beside darkness forever. So I will hold both of them, that is Mrs. Ojo and Mr. Jimmy, to have a chat with Mr. Jimmy's wife and tell them what happened. Or probably seek an advice from the family member. Then present the matter in a very calm way, or I don't know how they're going to present the matter to Mr. I didn't even get it. Mr. Ojo is abroad. This is what happened, this is what happened to happen. You know, she has never been pregnant before for you, and now she's pregnant. Then I would suggest that Mrs. Ojo, which is Mrs. Ojo, forget about our mind with Mr. Ojo. Can never work again. Anyway, the mistake is from Mr. Ojo. I think the reason why a husband, a man, will kind of keep a grown-up woman under his friend's umbrella. Trying to do that his friend is already married. That's what they say. Sorry for. So that one, like I said, the deed has been done. So there's no point crying about spacing up. There's no point keeping a secret. You understand? They should just blow up the window. Let everybody know their son. So if Mr. Ojo is happy,
Mm-hmm.
let go of his wife, his friend.
So are you saying that the friend will not have two wives? Mrs. Adeniyi now plus Mrs. Ojo coming in.
Let me forgive move on. There's no because the life of it there, you understand? I can't, for Mr. Ojo, I can never take question back into my life again. A woman that wanted her husband, you understand? So it's like I said, it's I to say fidelity. Regardless of whatever, her husband's friend is person that whoever this is knowing truly how close they were. So there's no point. Mr. Ojo should just move on. If Mr. Adeni lets the man Mr. Joe, why? And if you let the man Mr. Joe, let Mr. Joe have a child for deliver a child, probably give the birth to tell back to the Adeni or whatever. But she wants to be a single mother all her life, she can be a single mother, she wants to marry and marry. Mr. Adeni wants to marry her, let Adeni marry her. It's not done.
This is complicated.
Why? No, I won't do that. There's no point. So the relationship is already broken. You understand? There's no point. I want to my wife to go back to his wife, you know. So let me try to give him to Joe. You understand? Let me try to give him to Joe. Let Mr. Joe. The Mr. to move on with his life. And Mr. Adeni is left to her. If she's going to take Mr. Joe as a step wife, or I don't know, second wife. Yes.
What did you call it stepwife? You take a stepwife.
Just stepmother.
Yeah.
Or as his wife, or as her husband's second wife. So that is it. That's my own point anyway. There's no point. There's no point go back. I won't encourage Mr. Ojo to marry child back. Remember, it's not a mistake. It's a plan thing. So forget about it. I want to say it's after that. I don't know if I feel like who is a mistake. I encourage I want Mr. Ojo to be on that woman.
So how
There's no complicated secret.
So how do you think Mrs. Adeniyi will react to that? If you were to be Mrs. Adeniyi and your husband impregnated your family friend, whatever, I mean, your friends now.
If I was friend, there's nothing I can do. I'll just let it go. If that was one of my uncle's wife, our best friend came to see her in our own house, right? My uncle's wife happened to be a very rich man. So that means that for she was Mr. Reggie, I think my uncle's wife was Mr. Go. So She did not feel to dress. You know, that's not in that and everything. So along the line, the father of my uncle's wife now thought, how are you? They still let her like that and everything, you know. The person is not behind the back and everything. So all of a sudden, my uncle saw her everything that this girl had came, the girl comes to school, the person schools, but we're not getting the money from. Yeah, I met one guy in abroad, blah blah blah. My uncle's wife never knew that the guy was actually looking at that. That's my point. So the day she got to know that she was actually going out with her dad, because when the NYC, she went to see her friend in the campus where she was studying. And on getting there, she found her father's car parked in front of her friend's house. And she has learned the drama before. But she just went in without nothing. I saw my friend and the friend. The friend I walked out of the house. And I don't think about it to her. If you like, go and tell your mother that I'm not your friend. It's just my own business. And if you and your mother want to leave my house because I'm living your friend, you better leave. But this way that you are still, it's no longer a girlfriend. That the girl is who that because the pregnancy, that is the owner of the pregnancy.
Wow.
You know what? You have your child.
Mm.
It's abroad.
Mm.
You know, just asking questions and question. She directed a lot of trouble in the family that I but my mother has to step in. I know you say. It's either you accept her as a stepmother, or you just you leave the house at your home. But who advise you and your mother, but you ask your mother not to leave the house, not to leave the other house. What has happened has happened. The only thing that you can do is that you speak to your daddy if it's better in house. Because you're not living with your parents. And the man said, I know one of my wives will live outside my house. They are not living in my house. That's the end of the story.
Wow.
You know, if you cannot do the enjoyment, if there is no option, this time my uncles were there. You have to, you know, yes. But you know, they are work for 10 years though. They do some, I'm talking about 36 for the father. So that kind of thing that every year, when the father was there, the father is more, the reason was like, the man is dead now.
So
Even when the man died, the man already settled that. If I have me, not only two, but 1 year in Lagos Island. You know, a big question and what I like that say. So that was like the relationship continues. So in this case,
yeah.
there is no point, you know, if they are matured enough to speak with each other and got to that pregnant, the person who matured enough
So
talk to each other and
so
talk to Mr. Olam. It is the work of the devil, though. This will happen, this will happen now. I need to ask you, I don't have pregnant before. I have this actually asked her about it, said no, about it, not because of it. There's no point. They should just let it out.
so would that justify
No, because of this innocent child,
yeah.
they're trying to hide. They just come out of their whatever, whether I don't think they're the Bible. You know, they should just that will ask, you know, what would I say? Ask for a child. And if Mr. If Mr. Insists that she still wants to marry his wife, let Mr. have this for Mr. Identity. Then she can now leave Mr. Not to her husband. There's some man like that. They'll be like, okay, you can give him a child, you also have money for me. So it all depends. So that's all. That's my own view. There's no point hiding. There's no point keeping it.
So they can't keep that a secret forever anyway. Hmm?
It's I mean, it's our last husband is not down. That will be brain now.
Mm.
If you discover that on our own, or somebody wants to go and tell her that, look, you also just result of Mr. Last pregnancy, that'll be a worst case. So it's better for Mr. Daly now to go on his business and make it. Look, what happens. I didn't intend to do that, but that happened. You know? That's just it. And that's it.
Oh, this is a big one.
It's a legal one.
But there's an issue. There's an issue of broken trust here, don't you think so? Because Mr. Ojo would have trusted Mr. Diniyi that not that I mean such thing wouldn't happen. Maybe it wouldn't. Maybe for him to actually make a decision for the wife to stay with him because he felt that the wife would be lonely after going to the state. Maybe it didn't. I mean, he wouldn't like believe that his friend would have any affair with the wife. Maybe he hadn't shown that. He has not shown that trace at all, and things like that. Things do happen in that kind of situation anyway. But the thing is that this woman, I think, will look. I mean, will be the one that looks like betraying friends and friends because one, Mr. Denny is her friend, Mr. Denny is her husband friend, and so I'm saying now. So I think this is a kind of I mean, a kind of a wedge in the wheel um, of that relationship. So it's quite. It looks a bit complicated, and I know the point at which you are actually coming is, I mean, sounds so reasonable, because. The deed have been done already. The pregnancy will grow. So for them keeping it, one way this thing will be made, no, anything that is in darkness will come to light one day. So they have to make up their mind how to move on. So the first thing you propose is either the woman stay with the man, the new Mr. Dini, or if the Mr. Ojo will accept her back, that is his own decision, and so on and so forth. But for me, I don't think that relationship will ever be the same.
What if Mr. Ojo is good at set her back? How would she feel? If she did it from Mr. Ojo and Mr. Deni's wife, you know? But she's not comfortable to be not doing their name. Not really well that you are Mr. Deni's wife's friend. Your husband, Mr. Ojo, is Mr. Deni's friend. So you are sitting with your husband, you are sitting with Mr. Deni, and you are sitting with your wife, your friend's husband, you know? It's not this kind of.
So she leave the house and rent her own apartment and raise up her child alone, and Mr. Dini can be visiting her to have some top-ups.
Because
This is so
no. People don't have CID. And it will be like school stuff. I don't need to get it down. But now I can never be able to get it for life. Looking at everyone and say that to me. We're like, how come I go to this? We're like, what have I done wrong? Is that to pay me back? So, so I have to pay our presents to full blown period that they have here to take that to live in. That's it. That's poison. And all the countries are still within under their rule. You are breaking their trust. It's just great. It's the devil in among them, which is exactly. Blame Mr. David, So that was just trying to say. I look at the lady that was pregnant.
what kind of what kind of help is trying to help? They brought the woman to stay with the family. I mean, with under trust, and the friend had traveled. He has his wife, so what kind of help is he helping? I think it's not a bad thing there, He should just own up.
I said, because this is a very big issue.
Yeah, it's very big issue, and it's actually done what is actually not acceptable.
But then,
It will, yeah.
it's something that keep happening. So let them just.
Wow, this is so complicated. So the thing right now would be if Mr. Ojo, when the matter gets to him, like in the United States of America, to now know that the wife has been pregnant for his best friend, I think the man will be broken. He will be broken, be disappointed.
Exactly. Well, but you should understand that things are home. That's right. There's something new by the phone.
There's nothing new under the sun.
There's nothing new on the phone. No, there's something wrong with them. It's not the first case.
And it will be the last one.
It's not going to be the last episode.
Oh my God, things happen. So I think The last thing you said was that if the woman should move away from that house, then rent her own apartment and be alone to leave both Mr. Deneyi and the wife alone, and then Mr. Ojo. So it should not be it should not be Mr. Ojo's decision, maybe to go on with the wife or to walk away.
Exactly.
Ah, that looks a bit complicated there. Because there's no way you can actually cut Mr. Adeniyi off from seeing her, you know. She's carrying the baby. Hmm?
You know, you know. There's a three kids, they have a three thing on each other. I get my point.
Okay.
The what they are doing is they are not doing it, why would I say, comfortably. You understand? They have been sitting on each other.
Okay, long before she moved to the
You
to
know,
Adeniyi house. Yeah.
they are sure they're having in that house. It's not something they are proud of.
Okay.
That's something that they can just do. Don't have anybody.
Yeah.
It's not what they can do. When if the wife is out of home pretending, oh my already,
Yeah.
the moment the wife is out, it's becoming of understand. So that eating alone is mentally, how would I say, it's kind of taught. How would I say, I don't know how to read it anyway. It's not torture on its own,
It is, it's quite it's torturing. Yeah.
Right? For them to have agreed that we're going to keep this make the top secret, There's no point keeping it. It's not a secret. We cannot keep it for how long? That's 4 or 5, whatever they do that what will you tell people? That is your Jesus Christ, your skin is like Jesus Christ and just for what? So there's no point. I would just encourage them if I didn't need to just call his wife and explain what happened to the wife. You never allowed somebody else to tell his wife from outside. Oh, she never allowed him to. It's not about it on her own. It would be nice.
Okay. So Mr. Adeniyi should call the wife and tell the wife, look, oh, this is what happened though. I've impregnated your friend in the house.
If you want to start, if you want to cry, let that do it. If you want to end the marriage, so be it.
So likewise, do you suggest also that Mrs. Ojo should also call her husband to tell her husband that, look, this is what happened?
That look, I've been killing fish and I'm eating on my own, but this time around they have killed mine and I cannot make it alone. So come on, get out of it. The way is denial, then you open the kind of one.
Wow, this is a very big, a very bad can of worm to open. I'm just imagine that happen. Like
Well, it's not very, very good. You're ready for killing you.
oh my god, oh my god, this is something else. I'm trying to like, I'm trying to like, I'm trying to project myself. Like, if I were to be in that kind of situation, how will I even look at it? It's just I can't even find an answer right now because I'm just all over now. But the thing is, it's quite complicated. So at the end of the day, because somebody just sent me a text right, so at the end of the day, Mr. Joe should walk away. That's not, it's not worth it. Oh, I don't know. But like I said, there are no right or wrong answer to this, viewer. So you are free to your opinion. You know what I'm saying? But it's just a very complicated issue. So the one that you said regarding that your the man that was going out with the friend of with our daughter's friend. Oh, your uncle. Can imagine, it's your uncle. Jesus Christ.
Cousin,
Jesus.
and my father's home,
Yeah.
simply. So it's my first cousin. So the wife, I remember then, I was still very, very young, but I was the second when this issue happened. Because it was after the lady had her first child, and that was when the time we got married. And he said it was not, it doesn't want to start her friend on our wedding day. And the father said, it's coming. The woman that will be the one of the day. And she also will be there. Because they are come to pick your hand in marriage in my house. And she has to be there. She's been born in this house. She's number third or number fourth on there. In fact,
To be his father. To be her father. The man was older than her dad. So and that's done. So at the end of the day, she ended up becoming like the stepmother to her friend.
Children. 4 boys and 2 girls. And a man.
4 boys and 2 girls for the man.
And that was this life was never this picture. Because I want to buy into the big business, then selling things I thought I was good for other than everything. But she was also helping their whole husband, my food. The father is also a very what because a close merchant. So we're selling clothes together and developing there. So this my daughter is very good show.
So
She was doing my computer whatever. She want to send any telegram there, telephone, whatever. You want to do fast and everything. You have to go to her to do it there. That was like this is the place, everything center and everything. She was running it. Then she was a big girl. I think she got it. Well, so the reason why my uncle was very upset was that how can his father marry the graduate? You know, because though they are mothers and not well educated, they are just regular of this how many secondary school that you understand all this mama, you know. So she was very upset. So the lady who was the one going around with the man, under the man's business, you know. It's the side I was saying that was, let's say, I won't like, let's kind of bring, like, promote the man with his education and everything. For them to establish the federation, you kind of develop the man. You have to introduce all these, how would I call it, kind of fast trading business and everything, you know. Talk all their stuff, have this computer and everything. So, because they're using manually, write something on the desk, they're using computer, they put on this computer and everything. So you compare the man's business anyway. That's what the correct adjective. She compares the man's business and everything was, you know, but it's very good job. But you know, we didn't get along well with her friend. We always connected. After the marriage, she left the house and she never came back to the house. But her father passed it.
so she felt a little bit disappointed in her dad.
Very disappointed. Father passed in 2000 and, you know, 2001.
Wow. Actually, the thing is that I've had so many cases that's very similar to this story that was being sent to me, because I discovered that when it comes to the issue of these people saying that all this family friend kind of and family friend kind of stuff, at times it could lead up to people having affairs. You know what I'm saying? Because I've heard story like this also in the past. You know, all this kind of into in kind of stuff. I think that should be a way that people will have to work around it. Because, like, if Mr. Ojo had trusted Mr. Adeniyi, that nothing will happen because he hadn't seen any trace.
So how can you just a cat is the cause of the problem. It's the cause of this problem. Mr. Ojo.
Yeah, because I think
Okay.
it felt, I think,
Can you just for what is problem? Okay. Why some men are very educated, they are very invested.
men are very, they are very decent. Some men have self-control, and that wouldn't happen. I think it's just Mr. Adeniyi that,
For example, now, a woman, when I was running my age, the thing I was on season, they go because of OPM group.
okay.
It's called Open and Both Minds. Open and Both Minds is kind of a group that we share our experience, we share our thoughts, we see products and everything. So this one that got identity to the Open and Both Minds, they kind of said, please, I don't want you to hide my identity. I don't care if anybody knows because for what, for my public, I know about. I just apologize to her for giving her. The very good one was just not anybody to come to the same time. He came to this, I was actually with one American mythology. I went to America. But then, because it's married, the mother of the husband said, she does not go and get a husband in America. People stay with the children in Nigeria. Why the husband goes to America to find that? As soon as the man was able to spend money on, and finish his building, then the husband can move cracking into his castle. What I want to do is install stuff Maybe other sisters that are not married in there. From there, they can be doing their business and, because whoever that wants to marry is now married, then the woman can go to America and then husband. If the woman should go to America and then husband, the man will not have enough time to take one to build
Yeah.
house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the kids agree. They went to America.
Wow.
This girl was living in the rented house where the man left there and so they 3 bedroom house. Let's try to take it. Go and again. And the one was using one, the baby girl was using another one, the son was using another one. So, once you have my parents work and everything. Before that, this woman has to complain to her husband that look, my husband is going to be disturbing me. He needs to pass it to me, what this between and everything, So now, the one I was saying, no. But on this particular day, the husband has been for 2 years. The woman just said, you this woman, she has been keeping your body for your husband the last 2 years. Just because your husband is not keeping another one in America, and you are here punishing yourself. I don't want to marry, let's be going out, Be my friend, and be your friend, we'll talk to each other. You must say, no, I'm not interested. I'm married one. You must say, I'm not married too. You are married. Yes, no, fine. That's the situation that's balanced. The situation is balanced. We are not having to get it, you're not that pregnancy for me. I don't want to be my wife. I'm not going to marry you. But I'll take care of you, and you take care of me too. So the man kept trying, and the next time, you didn't see what I did. You have to. So I said, this woman, you should just before I know I today. But the man that's on the man that's on her neck, then she got married, the government, the bank kept her, she was not like the bank and everything. On this particular day, you don't know what was going on. She actually went up to her friend, they went to club and everything with her friends. If no longer married to her husband, who happened to be a single mother, that was not coming to her house, they both just went to the club. So that one now, at the end of the day, they went away with her man friend, and her man friend came to drop her in her own house. So now, the following morning was on Sunday, or Saturday, she did the cleaning, took care of the children. No, she did the cleaning and went back to her mother to go and find her children. So on getting her mother's place, the mother was not around, the mother went out. So mother now let you know that on Sunday she will bring the children, that she has taken the children and on Sunday they will go to church with the kids on Sunday. Then after church, she will bring the kids and everything. So on her way, the boss now met, but our own boss met her on traffic. They go to say that. So the man now blew her car. What are you doing? They said, my boss. The man now ran down the phone. Let's chat. Let's have to do the let's chat together. He said, now park the car. He said, God, what is this now, sir? You are stressed. Look at your street. 10 years I've been this for a very long time. Where are you coming from? I want to go and collect my children from my mom. And my mom is going around to take her coach to I'm going to I don't know. I should not go back to look for this for she go back to her and tomorrow morning after taking the children to bed after 10:30. It's going there to work in the afternoon before 4 o'clock in the evening. It's necessary to tell you, before no problem. Before I go into the I'm going to go out. The time is going on. You're going on your own, there's nobody to do with it. It is just 4 o'clock on a Saturday. And when I understood that there's no point you coming to a house to do it, what is far? I should bring the kids of money. So you mean I want to wait the whole of 24 hours between now and next tomorrow on your home? That's nobody. He said, yes, I'm going to my house. I haven't been out. But what you say? I have this, I have that. Okay, there's no point working for me. Let's go out. There's a place the man is selfish. Let's go and have breakfast and everything. Oh, now I'm not hungry. I don't want to myself. The man considered that and everything, Now, I don't just pick a car to try following a boat. So they went to, where they were, they had their kids and everything. They did very nice. The man was done chatting. Then they went chatting and kind of talking, romantic and everything. They said, look, listen, I'm too much for that. I'm a married man. The woman said, look, woman, I know you are married. The man kept trying, time. He said, okay, madam, you can go back home. But tomorrow, I will give you a call in the morning. Right? I'll give you to him quickly. He ran to the lady. The lady said the man was too funny. That's what she told me. That evening, the man was too funny. That man was so funny. I never knew that our boss was a very funny man. I heard that's my point. So she was just like kind of, hello, are you hearing me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. You're like, yeah.
She said our boss was very funny that Friday night, and he was dancing and everything. That's it. She kind of enjoyed the company. So she was it was content for Sunday. Why the one they don't call that? He was like, if man didn't come before I'm going to ring him. He said, immediately, he said that phone just rang. What's that? And how are you? Are you okay? Are you okay? Put up go somewhere to the you enjoy the place. So the person working to that one time you enjoy the place. This one now to car house. But the man lunch and everything, very cozy place and everything, tea styles and everything. Everyone was just fresh, people and everything. The way of this person. So they left the place they want to. Look, they had a suya and drink. Then they now left today and they want to somewhere in the highlands. You know, he said all what they said, that was just seafood and everything, beautiful place and everything. You know, so it was around 4 o'clock in the evening. Around 6 o'clock in the evening, actually, well, I need to go. Let me just walk you home, drive up the way. Then you can go there. Between there for tomorrow morning. He said on the Monday morning, you know, it could not. Well, thank you, sir. I didn't get my house in on Saturday. They said the one place I think it doesn't happen. You know, the man now took off on his regular duty at work. Is everything okay? This one is the one of it. You know, but during the break time, the man that came to our office, look, listen, madam, now I have time for you. You know, the man was like, thank you, express yourself. He started to find because I said, oh, look, listen. By the way, why are you wearing this short minister from? I don't say you don't like me, you don't want to do this me. The one now is pressing, why are you now oppressing you? Don't lift your legs, sleepless and everything. Why are you oppressing your body? Look at that, forget it out. You know what I'm saying? The
Uh,
basic is personal, but
but the thing is like the man, the boss.
but look, you know how you can put it now.
So
You want to do this, I hope they say, this is not the word. Not just Kafka on a bomb and everything. That's why I started it. And before he started this and everything, then he got to his place, our husband will just call her, will not complete her husband call, will not let her husband call. It has got to that level that they were just banging, going out, enjoying it, that is, you know?
that's very untasteful because one the boss, I think you're saying the boss is married, and so the boss is literally like going out with one of our workers, office worker that is also married also. So
Mm-hmm.
with the way your story has gone right now,
Other than that, in terms of job, the man is a very difficult person because when he comes to job, he really job and everything. And he's like,
so hold on. When it comes to job, it was a principled man, but when it comes to having affairs, it's not principled.
instead of after work and everything, you understand? Then you don't go to a place, who's like something there. And you go together in the night. What they do is that before bedtime, just the woman, the man will do the office, and then the bedtime 1 hour, the secure will do the and if you say the man leave me, you understand? Then after whatever they have told her they need to do, they will come to the office before the man, then the man will not come after her. So the time it was like that. Then later, after the man that said, listen, there was a day I phone now rang. And I said, maybe that's wrong. You didn't get to be close example. If it is you, that doesn't feel like it. The man said, no. Don't let it get to that level. You have to pick your phone and talk to your husband. We have an agreement. I want to my friend, I was bringing up here. So that the man kept his word of promise, you understand? And everything was like, which was the woman that got carried away.
So the woman, yeah.
For yes, the man that was saying no. All of a sudden, the man just dropped the word, you understand? So they took the man. So the thing was that happened to Mr. Joe. She was like, oh, but I was saying the way Mr. Denny has been dressing the wife, kissing his wife, hugging his wife, you know, she was like, I wish my husband is here. The one if you just look at him, even if my husband is here, whatever that is mine is mine. Whatever it belongs to my friend belongs to me. If this man is just tell you, I will agree. You know, that's justice.
So
Sometimes you are doing something, but something without this is something, that is something. So when the man eventually came back to Nigeria,
that is
the man had about the gist before coming to Nigeria that the wife has the people going around with her bomb to the office. Huh?
so how did he
So,
handle it? That when he came back when he came back to Nigeria and discovered the wife has been sleeping with her boss, how did the husband handle that situation?
so with the people that send that I'm coming to Nigeria, I want to my airport to the woman is ready herself and everything so that boss he wants to come to say we are going to be doing it brought to rock. You have been clean and everything, so don't worry about. They won't spend anything on you, won't buy, you know. So there's nothing. So I understand you. go and look after about 6 years and everything. And when he got back to America, they will continue. So when at this stage, the rest said, look, listen, look away behind him. And the one I said, look, you've been here for over 4 years. I said to myself for 2 years, but something happened the 3rd year. And I promise it never happen again. So the next time, I said, oh, that what happened? Yes. The one I said, well, as it is now, I want this for the next 11 months. And all I want from you now is that I need to confirm your monthly period so I can kind of arrange to do with you. And I said, no problem. They went out, they were doing everything. I went upstairs, you know, this part was, I was all right. He said, okay, fine, no problem. Okay, man. In terms of job, you also play that work on the rigorous test and everything, HIV, syphilis and everything. Then once I got to the street, that she was kind of shocking, like, what about us to cover this dog and everything? You know? The other was kept asking her that, so you mean you just did it one? I said, yes, I did it once. She said, just said she just said my once. And that I promised her that thing will happen again. So it's just everything came out, there's no problem and everything. Then I said, this woman actually share our own experience that she is looking because she might somebody very understand it.
So the husband accepted the excuses that she gave for sleeping with her boss.
And the husband confessed that the girlfriend is America.
Okay.
But like America is not where you can go, that even if you don't want to do,
So
bring it to you.
he cheated on her too in America, then the wife too cheated on him too in Nigeria, isn't it?
In Nigeria. So and the man now said the history is not over. What will happen now is that I'm waiting for the next 9 months. While I'm here, I'll be doing the paperwork and everything. As soon as everything is okay, you are going to go to America first, and I'm going to go to America. So this lady never went to her boss because he doesn't want any trouble.
Yeah.
According to her, he said the mama might ask us to come and kind of thing that sleeping again and everything. But she kept it to herself. She was kind of doing everything. She sent her
Resignation.
no, not the baby that is going on this for 2 months.
Okay.
But I was like, yeah, as a good on all this, I was like, South Africa. But I was taking her and her kids on all this. So the man said, no problem. Because when she now got to America, she has fully settled down after a month. She now sent her
Resignation, okay.
She want to come back to again that. South Africa was going to South Africa to America. I was going to today. I said, I'm going to America. I was doing it. So the man never, she said the man never asked her, why did you say that you're going to America to South Africa? Why did you leave, why did you leave, why did you kind of take back the first thing? She said the man just let her be. You know?
Okay.
But she said it's not every man that can understand, that can handle issues the way the man handled it.
Yeah.
It's not every husband that will handle it the way husband handled it.
Sure.
And it's not every woman that will be lucky, greatly is lucky.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Everybody have their capacity of handling issue. People don't handle the same way. But the thing at the end of the day is that, like what you are trying to say, that woman, actually caved in for the boss after so many pressure and all those loving up the man was doing, being kind, being good, all those sweet words and things like that. And the husband was not around then, and she realized that and then backed away from that. Okay. But the thing at the end of the day is that was resolved in one way or the other. But that does not change the fact that what she did was wrong as well, you know. But the husband too did the same thing that was wrong because he cheated on her as well in the States. But like you said, not every relationship that has that kind of issue will be resolved that same way. But both of them are quite so lucky that ended up well. And for her not to have told the boss as well that she was relocating as well, and the way she moved away from him and then went back to the state with her husband shows that she had actually regretted what she did, and she didn't want to go back into it. So I think so that one ended up well. So now I would just I hope Mr. Ojo will be listening right now. Maybe he's going to handle it that way. I don't know how he's going to handle this situation right now with his wife that is pregnant. I don't know how he's going to handle this situation. So I don't know how he's going to handle this situation. It's so it's so complicated. It's so complicated. So at the end of the day, I think it could be that it could sway to the side of the woman not wanting to have the Adeniyi move away from that house to her rent her own apartment, like you said, and be on her own. But at the same time, there cannot be any guarantee that Mr. Adeniyi, who owns that pregnancy, or I don't know, who will own the baby, will not have access to her. So, and how would the trust be there for Mr. Adeniyi to believe that her husband will not continually sleep with her best friend, Mrs. Ojo, because she has a child with her? So it looks a little bit very complicated. There are people who are in this situation right now, and there will always be a way forward for them. That's why your opinion actually matters. Thank you so much. Like, this is very, very good one. This is a very, very good one.
Okay.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you for calling. Naomi, God bless. Take care. Bye. Yeah. Oh, oh, wow. Thank you. That was a very, very good contribution from Naomi there. And that's just, she told us so many similar stories uh, that is connected with people who tend to go into affairs that will hurt other people at the end of the day, or this kind of extramarital affairs and things like that. But at the end of the day, like I would normally say to you, okay, your opinions actually matters. So, Mr. Ojo and Mr. Adeniyi, Mrs. Adeniyi, and Mrs. Ojo, if you are hearing us today, okay, you could actually deduce what you want to do or make up your mind how you want to go about it. But the class actually giving very good opinions, okay, in her own opinion, and giving life experiences as well of what she knew about people who had similar cases and how they handled it. But you could handle your own in a different way. So the final decision on how to handle your issue belongs to you. So at the end of the day, that belongs to you. Okay. So viewers, thank you so much for today. Thank you for being with me until I come your way next week. Okay, by next week again, I'm coming your way. We're going to have a chat as well. I'm going to bring another exciting story to you, and I also want your opinion. For those who are unable to call in, please drop your comment. Okay, just drop your comment. Drop your comment. Your comment actually matters because people will read it. That could be people going through similar situations that will need an advice or need your opinion. So just throw in your opinion and let them decide either to want to go along with your opinion or not. So that's how it works. Okay. So we in this program, we are not imposing our opinion on you or the opinion of any speaker, but the thing is that the last the ball, I mean, the last, how did they say it? The ball is in your court. Okay, so you decide what you want yourself. So thank you so much for joining this broadcast today. So thank you so much. Until next week again, when we come your way with another episode. I remain Mark Ben. Remember what I normally say: relationship is not to be endured, it is to be enjoyed. So enjoy your relationship and have a good time. You take care. See you next week. God bless you. Bye bye.